We would like to welcome to the podium now Nafisa Adams, coming all the way from Ghana to share her story with us. With a round of applause.
This is a form of welcome in my local community where people are happy during an occasion. So this is a form of welcome to all of you to Conference 2015. On behalf of the women of Beats of Hope. Okay, I would like to start by taking you into my world and the women in my life and in my world and in the life of Beats of Hope. That young girl over there is Rosa, and she's 16, and that is her baby. This is actually her second baby. Her first baby died, and then this is her second baby. The lady on the other side, that is the mother. She's Anutua Gumpua, and that is her daughter. She's 31 and have 7 children, and she's widowed. Anutua dropped out of school, and now her goals are to become a nurse, to go back to school and hopefully to become a nurse. Her mother, Rosa, didn't have the opportunity of going to school. She is good with farming. She's a farmer alongside working with Beats of Hope, and she's good with gardening. And she wishes to improve upon her gardening so that she can make more money. As she tells me in her own words, she doesn't want her children to end up like her, to be able to educate them. This is Bintu. Bintu is 27. She moved from Paga, my village, to the city in search of greener pastures. And she's a Kayayo. Kayayo is a concept in Ghana whereby girls migrate from the northern part and the upper east, which is where I come from, which is the poorest part of the country, and move to the city in search of greener pastures by carrying load for people for a token. And most of the time, most of them don't have places to sleep, so they end up sleeping on the streets and in front of shops. And most of the time, they end up being sexually abused. She has 2 children, and out of all these 2 children, she was sexually abused 2 times before she got pregnant and had the baby. So she wishes to, through Beats of Hope, make some money, become a fashion designer, and then take care of her children. Okay, I would like to start by telling you a story. I wasn't far from ending up like Bintu, Rosa, and Anutua, with so much potential but shattered dreams. This is Paga, where I come from, in Ghana, in the Upper East region. That is me over there. And Paga is the 10th region. Ghana has 10 regions. It's the 10th region out of the 10 regions, and it's one of the poorest in the country. We, however, have something small in Paga, which is, has made Paga a bit popular. We have the most friendliest crocodiles in the world. Yeah. You can ask Erin Hollywood over there or Marilyn Chatwin, and he will tell you. You can even take a selfie with the crocodile. They are that friendly, yeah. Okay, so I am Rafia to Nafisa Adams. Everybody calls me Nafisa. And my parents got divorced when I was about 6 years old, and my mother decided to move to the city with me and my younger sister in search of greener pastures. So in the city, we had no money, so my mother had to look for an uncompleted building in the most ghetto part of the city where we resided. As a way of making ends meet, we started hawking iced water, selling pure water on the streets, myself and my mother. I sold iced water on the street till I was about 9 years, whereby we had saved enough money, and then we decided to graduate into selling plantain chips. At age 9, my mother would fry a lot of plantain chips, put it on my pan, I carry it on my head. I virtually hawked the whole of the streets of Accra. Anywhere there was a crowd, you were likely to see me there. Be it funerals, naming ceremonies, yes, chips, you could see me there. And then I was, however, not happy. I kept telling my mom that I wanted to be in school. I wanted to go to school because all the other children in the neighborhood were in school. And then I remember once or twice, some of my age mates teased me about how I can't even spell a common B-O-Y, boy. What am I doing? So I cried to my mom that I wanted to go to school. And my mom promised me that if I'm able to help her sell enough and we are able to save enough money, she promises me next year I'll go to school. So I worked so hard, making sure that early in the morning when I left the house, I brought no single bag of plantain chips to the house. I sold everything. By the time I was 10 years, luckily for me, my father reappeared in our lives and I was sent to school. I began class 1 at the age of 10 years. I remember dreaming the whole night about how I was going to school and how I was going to be happy. But in school, that dream was kind of shattered because I was the oldest in the class, 10 years at class 1. And most of my classmates were between 5 and 7. And I remember being teased a lot and called class 1 mother, and I was so sad, but I was determined. I worked so hard. I don't go for break. I'll pick my book, sit. The least chance I got, I would ask my class 1 teacher, how do you pronounce this? How do you do this? So within a year, I worked so hard. I could read grade 1 books. I could even read grade 2, grade 3 books, as much as some parts of grade 4 books. So my grade teacher asked me, would I be happy if she promoted me to catch up with my age mates? And I said yes. And she told me to work hard, so I worked harder. So by the next year, when I was supposed to go to grade 2, I was lucky and fortunate enough to be skipped 2 classes to grade 4 to catch up with my age mates at the age of 11. So that was good for me, and it helped bring back my self-confidence. So by and by, I completed my primary school education, and then I moved to junior high school, completed my junior high school education. Just after completing my junior high school education, my mother moved back to the village, and then my father, I was left with my father in the city, but my father had no accommodation, so I had to end up staying with different relatives and different friends. Out of all of these people I stayed with, most of them abused me physically. I was made to do household chores young girls my age were not supposed to do. I remember carrying water. I never had hair on my head till I was about 17 because I carried so much water, I virtually went like bald on my head. And I was abused verbally most of the time of how I was a bad luck child. That's why my parents got divorced, and a whole lot, how I wasn't good enough, how I wasn't pretty enough, how I wasn't everything enough. And I managed to finish my junior high school, and my daddy died. So it was a problem for me to go to senior high school. And I moved back to the village. My father's family called me and said, now that I've finished junior high school, since my father was not around to help take care of me, they think it's best they give me off to marriage to one of my father's friend who was a politician in the community and was considered to have money in the community. So I was young at that age, but now growing and thinking about it, I think they took a form of dowry from him. And then they told me that. I remember crying the whole night. So I decided to take an action. I have one uncle, my father's brother, who was educated. So I decided to write a letter to him and my class teacher, who really liked me, and posted the letters to them. I gave the letters to a bus to be sent to Accra, and then they decided to take action. I think a week later, my uncle and my teacher, my uncle came, just then my teacher also came, and they talked to the family. It became a whole issue. And then they were able to rescue me, thankfully. But I was, however, disowned by the family that I'm disrespectful and all that. But I was fine with that. So far as I didn't get to marry that 47-year-old man, I was happy with that. So I wanted to go to secondary school, and my results were good. So I was hoping something will happen because my uncle couldn't afford to pay for my fees or my teacher. But luckily for me, I had a scholarship to go to secondary schools. And in secondary school too, I faced a lot of challenges because the scholarship only covered my tuition, and then my feeding, which is boarding. The rest, I didn't have the luxury of having certain basic things a teenage girl needed. Basic things, and it was really tough for me. I remember once in a while, as much as it's hurt my pride and dignity, I'd had to borrow certain things a young girl need from friends, but as the saying goes, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. I was determined that I wouldn't end up like my mom in the village or the women in the village. I wanted to move ahead and do something with my life and go back to the village and help them. So I managed to graduate senior high school, and then my results were in. I passed very well. I knew I wanted to go to the university, and I had to move to the city because who would take care of me? I moved to the city, worked as a house help for 2 years, saved some money, bought my University of Forms, and in the year 2006, I gained admission to the University of Ghana to pursue a course in sociology. And in the University of Ghana, after first semester, I nearly dropped out of school because my financial woes began again. I didn't think university education would be that expensive. I thought after paying my fees and paying for my accommodation, that's it. But feeding, handouts, it was a problem for me. And then I decided I had to act quick. But since my childhood, I've always had this fascination with jewelry and stuff. And I remember most of the time when I go for lectures, sometimes I don't even eat, I go for lectures. And then girls who are like from privileged homes and very nice and flashy will be like, oh, where did you get this from? This is nice. Can I buy it? And I'll be like, oh, I made it myself, and I'll give it to them. So then I decided, can't I even make this thing and sell? I think if I make some and sell, they will buy. So I decided to talk to a roommate of mine. As at that time, I took a loan from her, which is, if I'm to convert it to Canadian dollars, about 12 Canadian dollars. I took that money, went to the market, bought different types of beads, put them together, and then wore a lot and put some in my bag. When I go for lectures, wow, this is nice. Where did you buy it? I'm selling some. Then I'll move and sell to them. Then it went on and on and on for like, I finished selling within the first week, went back to the markets, and then it was like people started getting interested. And then I had to make use of the little time I got. Anytime I was like, I didn't have lectures, I would run around town selling. I was everywhere, and it was quite difficult. Imagine being in school and then running everywhere, and then you have to write exams and all that. It was very difficult. My final year, I remember, was really difficult because I was doing my long essay on entrepreneurship, and I didn't even own a laptop. I had to borrow a laptop, printing. It was a problem, but thankfully, I managed to graduate in the year 2010. And then, right after graduation, I couldn't believe I had done it. I have a degree now. I decided, wow, then I have to go back to my village because there were equally other young, bright girls. Most of my mates, like most young girls, all they do is end up marrying at a young age. And then, so maybe I should go back to my community. If I had been able to see myself through school by making and selling jewelry, maybe I should do something in my community with that. If I can get a lot of people to be interested to buy what I do. So then I went back to the village, took some beads, raw materials, and then I started working with like 10 women. And then, whenever we finish, I rush back to Accra to sell. So in 2011, Beads of Hope was formally registered as a social enterprise, and then we were working with about 12 women by then, but as of now, currently, I work with 55 plus women, and we make beaded jewelries, necklaces. We started by making just bracelets, and then out of that, most of the women get some money to empower themselves economically to take care of their children. How we operate is I get the raw materials, get the women, you come, everybody's name is in a book, what you are supposed to do for the day you take, and then when you are done, you bring it and then you get paid. So how much you earn in a day depends on how fast you are or what you do. So that's how basically Beads of Hope operates. And then we are still on it, and since I met with EWB and then a couple of things, I mean, it's been challenging. Things have really improved, and then we are here. So what I want to say by telling you my story is to let you know that I am just an individual. I have not had life easy at all. I have had to skip most of the details of what I have been through. You have no idea. Just so that if I'm to tell you now, they will break us here. And despite all these challenges, I have been able to create this change of giving a source of income to 55 plus women. And I still face challenges. I don't have a car. I have to travel 12 hours plus with all my heavy bags to the city when we finish making to run around and sell. But still, I mean, I'm able to do this and inspire the women and then tell them there is better hope for the future. Good people in this room, what do you think will happen if all of you here who are fortunate to have come from a beautiful country like this with all the privileges, what do you think would happen when we decide to move together in the little way that we can to do something? Well, the change I seek to create with Beats of Hope is, the change I seek to create with Beats of Hope is to give the rural woman who works so hard but yet have so little to show for it the chance to be economically empowered enough to be able to educate their children, give their children better health care, because in our communities, when women are empowered, it has a rippling effect on the whole family, and then lives are being improved. Another change I seek to create with Beats of Hope is to make sure that I'm able to empower other young girls who are in my situation and tell them that all hope is not lost, like you can do it. And then in my own, as this grows, set up a fund to be able to push them. Most of them might not be able to have might not be able to have that courage to go through some of the things I went through. That is why some of them end up, being taken advantage of, and they end up being pregnant and dropping out of school. So that is what I seek to do with Beats of Hope. And then I cannot do this alone. Most of the things, as I'm standing here saying, it seems easy, but it's not easy. I can't do this alone. This is why it befalls on individuals in this room and big organizations like EWB who know the world is unfair and there's so much injustice in the world, and is trying for us to find a way to solve this issue, has brought all of us in this room together. Corporate organizations, students in various fields of study, policymakers, and corporate organizations. What do you think we can do when we decide to come together in all these respective fields to do something? You can imagine the change we can help bring about. I am one of the grassroots, and I had to fight so hard to get to where I am today. Why should it have been so difficult for me? All I wanted to do was an education and get a better life. Like, why should systems or policies make it so hard for me to be able to achieve this? I don't understand, and I am outraged. I am outraged as I stand here giving this speech and reminiscing everything. I am outraged at the so much poverty and injustice in Africa. I am outraged at the status quo. I am outraged at corrupt governments and politicians. I am outraged at the fact that Anutua and Rosa both have to end up their whole life being mothers. Rosa have to be a mother of two at that age, and what will happen? It means the vicious cycle will continue because they are both not educated, and then they are having children. Children will definitely end up not being educated, and then the vicious cycle would keep continuing. I'm outraged about that. I'm outraged at the fact that all the women I work with back in the village are so hardworking, you have no idea. Yet they have so little to show for it. Why should systems make it so difficult I thought in life, the more effort you put in, the more you're supposed to get. But status quo has not made it so. Favorable policies have not made it so. Corruption has not made it so. I am outraged. I am, however, hopeful. I am very hopeful because of organizations like EWB, making it possible for my fellow Kumvana delegates and myself to be here in Canada, for us to all unite with all of you to see how best we can unlock our potential. I am hopeful because a woman from a small village in Paga who is a social entrepreneur can be here on this platform in Canada for the first time in my life, be here and talking to like-minded people about how we can unite to make the world a better place. I am hopeful. I am hopeful most of you in this room will realize how blessed you all are with the opportunities here. Not even have to think about what your next decent meal is, where it is coming from. I am hopeful that most of you will move out of your comfort zone. It's not just about us coming to conference and sitting and talking about it and be like, okay, issues in Africa, she's doing something. Okay, asking questions. What are we doing? What are you doing? Are you going to volunteer your time? Are you going to in whatever way you can? Is it in cash? Is it in policy? Is it influencing policies that would help us collaborate at the grassroots to help alleviate poverty? What are you doing? I am hopeful that after this conference, we will take more action in whatever way we can. I am hopeful that we will not just have discussions about what is happening in Africa or how it's so bad and having intellectual discussions about it without actually walking the talk. I am hopeful that after here, we would actually walk the talk. He who wears the shoes knows how best it pinches. So sometimes it's best we step out of our and try to get involved. Then we would know how best to tackle issues of poverty and injustice, because we've had some experiences. Most of the EWBs who have had the opportunity of being to Africa and they know what life is like. And I am hopeful most of you would, with all the various courses we are reading, in whatever way we can, in every little way we can all contribute to make the world a better place. I am hopeful that by the time we leave here, we would stop being more individualistic and network as much as possible. Talk to the next person. Talk to the person next to you. I am here on this platform talking to all of you because I met with Erin Allywood on an STC bus on my way to the village, and then we decided to talk. We struck the conversation in the bus. She could have decided to be on her phone or maybe on my phone, and we wouldn't talk to each other. And then all the networking wouldn't have happened for them to believe in what I do. She wouldn't have come to the village to see how I'm struggling to make this work, for her to network me, for me to be here on this platform talking to you today. So I hope after today we would step out of being more individualistic, because there are so many issues happening in the world. This is the time for us to unite, to unlock our potential in making the world a better place, and posterity will never forget us. I would like to end my speech by doing a little demonstration using this broom. Okay. This is called a broom. In Ghana, we use this to sweep, to make the house, the room, or wherever clean. And it's supposed to make things beautiful and nice. Okay. Can you please come over here for a little demonstration? Yes, please. Thank you. Okay. Can you please try using one of these two? Pretend as if you are sweeping. It's not working, right? Okay. Please try breaking it. Break it. Break it into two. Yes. No, hold it this way. Good. Were you able to break it? Okay. Hold it. Please try using it to sweep. Okay. Is it making progress by sweeping something? Okay. Please try breaking the whole bundle for me to see. You see? Okay. So, thank you. So, this goes on to show that when we unite as a people, whether black or white or yellow or green or blue, there is nothing we can't achieve in this world. There's no way we can make the world a better place and we'll all be happy. So let's all unite to unlock our potential. Thank you.